Hello and welcome to the Swedish Linguist YouTube channel. And today I will talk about why podcasts might be one of the best language learning resources out there, and especially podcasts with transcripts. This is very, very useful when you want to learn how to understand spoken language, and it will also help you a lot with sounding natural when you speak. So I will go through how to study a podcast with a transcript to get the maximum benefit out of it. And if you like this video, please leave a like. And if you like my channel, you can subscribe. Helps me a lot, helps the channel. Thank you. So it's very easy to be frustrated when you try to understand spoken language. I know I've been very frustrated in my life every time I try to understand spoken language. I'm sure that you've been in that situation too. And I think this is probably a lot because conventional language learning is a lot about written material and the written style of the language. And I also think it's because it's very easy and comfortable to focus on written material. Spoken, it just feels more, difficult. You have less control, But this leads to a bad understanding of spoken language and the spoken style of the language, and it also risks making you sound a bit robotic. You might sound not so natural, a bit like a book when you speak, if you have used mostly written sources for your language learning. And obviously the solution to this is to include more audio material to your studies, to listen more in your studies of the language. And the easiest way to do this is to start listening to podcasts, and not just any podcast, because it has to be on the right level. So you can't just put on some random podcast on a native level and expect to learn something from it if you're not already advanced, because you have to actually be able to follow along in the podcast, in the recording. So you should look for podcasts that are just spoken entirely in your target language, and at least if you're not a beginner anymore, and that are spoken just like a bit slower, using a bit more simple vocabulary and so on. And obviously the absolute best type of resource is when you have a podcast together with a transcript. So I will tell you my methodology for how to use a podcast with a transcript to get the most out of it. So say you're studying Swedish and you studied Swedish for a few months already. I use Swedish in this example because I'm a Swedish teacher. My material is in Swedish, and the podcast I will use as an example, the Simple Swedish podcast, is made exactly with this purpose in mind. So yeah, in this example, we use Swedish. So say you studied Swedish for a few months. You have learned the most basic vocabulary, the basic structure and grammar of the language. It's time to include more natural style material into your studies. And you might be able to read simple text and these kind of things, but as soon as you try to listen, it's just like too hard. So what do? So these are the steps I will go through. So number 1, find a podcast, obviously, and pick one episode. Try to pick a simple, easy episode, and especially try to pick a short episode. And maybe if it has an interesting theme, obviously much better. But try to pick a short episode to begin with. And then number 2, you sit down and you focus. Don't do anything else during this time. So you sit down, you focus, and you only listen. So doesn't matter if you don't understand that much, just try to listen and understand as well as you can. Okay, try to just get as much as you can just by listening. Okay, step number 3, get the transcript and study the transcript. Look up words you don't understand, maybe take some notes, notice different things, and it's okay if you don't understand everything. If you have little things that pop up and you're like, why is it like this? Why is it used like this and this word here? Don't worry. You don't have to understand everything right now. If you can follow along and if you can understand most of it, that's good. Okay. Step number 4. And now it's time to listen and read at the same time. And this is a really where this kind of method comes into play in the most efficient way, because now you can compare the written and the spoken way of how this language is used. So really try to notice the differences between how the language is written and how it's spoken. And for Swedish, this is extra important actually, because there are aspects of Swedish that are not really you can't really see from just the words. So really try to notice the differences between written and spoken, like for any language, really. And this will also help you a lot with sounding natural when you speak, because when you speak, you should try to speak as the language is spoken, not as it's written. Okay, when you've done that and you can understand this by reading and listening at the same time, now it's time for step number 5, and that is to listen only without reading. And now I'm sure you can follow along much better than before. So you can pause, you can listen to the same part many times. There will be places where you get completely lost, and this is where you can go to the transcript and you can check, okay, what was this that was like really difficult to just hear. And this is really the power of having a transcript and the audio source at the same time. So I really recommend to listen more times to the same episodes on other occasions. So just put it in a playlist and you can listen to it other times, because you will understand it better and better. And it's also a very satisfying feeling when you can understand something that you couldn't before, especially if it was really hard for you to understand things by listening before. So yeah, listen to the same episode more and just do this every day, or at least as often as possible. And you will notice step by step, the more you do this, the better you will actually understand spoken language. And after a while, you might be able to understand the easier episodes without a transcript, only by listening. And you can start using the transcripts for a bit more advanced episodes until you can, start using it for the episodes with real life conversations. And you continue this, and in the end you will be able to understand actual conversations in Swedish. So this is obviously the final step, to be able to just understand like regular everyday Swedish. So can you imagine? This is a really cool situation to get into. Like all of a sudden you realize, like, damn, I understand what they're saying. Yeah, so that's it. Just follow this methodology and you will understand spoken Swedish or spoken any language better and better until you can start understanding what people say in everyday situations. And that's a really cool feeling. And the most important things to remember is to train your ear, acquire vocabulary. Don't get stuck on little details. Like, you will understand these little things step by step as you go. So don't be a perfectionist, okay? It doesn't work like that. Language learning does not work by being a perfectionist, okay? As long as you can follow along and get massive exposure, that's the most efficient and best way to improve. And before I finish, I'm just gonna share with you guys a couple of really good tools that you can use this method with. And the first one is a free Chrome extension called ReadLang. And this lets you just very easily read through a text, because you can just click on a word and it will give you a translation right there in the text. It's very easy and very convenient. Beware a little bit, because it just gives you one single translation. Sometimes maybe it's not 100% accurate, but it's very easy and very convenient. And the second one is called Lingq, and it's not a free tool, but it's definitely one of my absolute favorites. It's a website and an app where you can import a text. It will generate a lesson for you, and you will mark words as known or unknown. And for the unknown words, you will get a list with translations. As you go, you will mark more and more words as known, and it's this very satisfying feeling to mark these words as known, and you get points and all these kind of things. It really requires a whole video on its own, and I might do one of those in the future. In that case, I will link to it down below in the description. So yeah, that's it. I hope this video was useful for you. If you liked it, please leave a like, and yeah, if you like my work, subscribe to the channel. And if you're learning Swedish and you want to use this methodology, start listening to the Simple Swedish podcast. You can become a patron. It's only €5 a month, and you will get access to a new episode and a new transcript every week, plus all the old ones. There are over 100 there now. So I will leave all the links, everything down here in the description. So yeah, that's it for me. Please leave a comment and tell me how you use podcasts in your studies. So yeah, see you in the next video. Ha det gött!